Hi, I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Jason.
And today we're going to be teaching you how to play the game KuKaKing.
Designed by Reinhard Stelper, it plays 2 to 4 players and takes around 20 minutes to play.
Let's get going and learn how to play. In KuKaKing, there has been a new declaration from the king that you can take whatever you want. And so, everyone at the table will have free choice over which columns of cards to take for their collection. The problem is, if 2 or more players choose the same cards at the same time, then the king's offering will shrink, and you may end up with less than you wanted. Whoever can collect the best sets of cards at the end of 2 rounds of scoring will be the winner. KuKaKing offers plenty of different strategies that can lead the victory. It's all up to you when you take what you want. With that said, let's learn how to play. In the box you'll find 8 number cards and 112 playing cards. There is a number at the top of each card to show you how many cards of that type there are in total. For example here, 10 kings. The top right corner shows whether a card must be removed from the game when it is scored, as shown by this red X, or whether it remains with you throughout the game, as shown by a green tick. At the bottom of each card, there is a description of how many points this card type will earn you when it comes time to score. We will describe the different types of cards later in this tutorial, but for now, let's learn how we set up the game. First, place the number cards face up next to each other in a row. The numbers used will differ depending on player count. If playing with 2 players, use numbers 1 to 6. With 3 players, use numbers 1 to 7, and with 4 players, use all 8 numbers. Return any unused numbers to the box. For this tutorial, we are going to set up the game for 2 players, so we would return numbers 7 and 8. Next, shuffle the deck of playing cards, and again, depending on player count, some cards will be returned to the box. With 2 players, remove 32 cards, and with 3 players, remove 10 cards. If you are playing with a full 4 players, then all 112 cards will be used. Finally, deal exactly 3 cards under each of the number cards, splaying the cards slightly so each card can be seen clearly. And that's the game all set up. Each round of the game is played in the same way. Every player will get all the cards in exactly 1 numbered column each round. The way you do this is first each player considers all the cards on the table and secretly decides on which column they would like. Once you make your decision, announce to everyone that you are ready. Once everyone is ready, everyone should put their closed fists over the centre of the table and reveal their chosen numbers simultaneously after the count of 3, like playing a game of rock, paper, scissors. The rules suggest you move your hands up and down and all say KuKaKing before you point your fingers like so. KuKaKing 4. So if I wanted column 2, I would say, I'm ready, KuKaKing 2. If I wanted column 6, I would say KuKaKing 6. So I would be showing 6 fingers, and so on. At this point, players will collect the cards in the chosen column. If a player is the only one to claim a column, they take all the cards in that column and places them face up in front of themselves, sorted by type. So I could take these, and I would sort them like this in front of me. If more than one player chooses the same number, then the bottommost card of the column, so that is the one that is fully visible, is removed from the game. No players get any cards from this column, and now there is 1 less card available in the future. Any players that chose this number now repeat the KuKaKing process. The players are free to choose from any number, even the column that just had a card removed. It is very possible that some columns may end up with only 2, 1, or even 0 cards, due to being repeatedly chosen. This KuKaKing process is repeated over and over until everyone has chosen a column on their own and received cards. A round will end once everyone has received a column of cards. Now all columns are refilled back up to 3 cards again, starting from number 1 and working your way along. Any cards remaining after a round stay in place, and the columns are replenished from the draw pile to make 3 per column again. It is extremely rare, but if players somehow manage to keep choosing identical numbers so often that only 1 or none of the columns have any cards in them, then the round ends immediately, and the affected players end the round empty-handed. Rounds are repeated like this, with the players all choosing a column and taking cards until at least 1 player has 13 or more cards in front of them. When this happens, the current round is played out completely, and then the first round of scoring will happen. The scoring round usually happens after round 5. The game is briefly interrupted while everyone scores up the cards they have collected. We will look at how cards score in more detail very shortly, but for now, once the scores have been tallied for the first time, everyone must return any collected cards that have a red X in the top corner to the box. Any cards with a green tick remain in front of the players. Then the game continues as normal with a new round, and play continues until the end of the game is triggered. The end of the game happens once the draw pile is completely empty after the columns have been topped up. It may not be possible to fill every column with cards once the deck runs out. If this happens, all the cards removed from the game in the box are shuffled and the columns are completely filled using these cards. This will be the final round, and then a second final scoring round takes place. After this final scoring, the player with the most points will be the winner.
Let's take a look now at how each type of card scores. Firstly, the kings. The more kings you have, the more points you will get. As you can see at the bottom, if you have 1 king at the end of the game, it's worth 0 points. If you have 2 kings, it's 1 point. 3 kings, it's 4 points, and so on. It is not possible to get more than 36 points with kings, even if you have more than 7 when it comes to scoring. 36 points is the maximum you can score. Next, it's churches. Whoever has the most churches when it comes to scoring gets 10 points. All other players get nothing. If more than one player has the same number of churches, all these players score 10 points each. Remember here that once scored, there is a red X at the top of the card. That means all churches are removed from the game. Next is victory point cards. Each victory point card earns the player as many points as the number on it indicates, either 2, 3 or 4 points. In this case, this card would score 2 points. The next type of card is knights, here. The player with the most knights scores 2 points for each of their knights, as shown down by here. All other players score 1 point for each of their knights. If players are tied for the most knights, all the tied players score 2 points for each knight. As you can see here with the green tick, this card will remain between scoring rounds. Next are animal cards. There are 8 different animals in the game, with 5 copies of each animal. For example here, there are 3 copies of the birds on the table, but there are 5 in total in the entire deck. Other animals include sheep, or cows, or even rabbits. You score for each type of animal separately and earn points based on how many of that individual animal you have collected. For example, using these birds here, I have 3 birds, so I would score 6 points. If I only have 1 of a certain animal, for example 1 cow, I would score 1 point. If you manage to collect all 5 of a certain animal, you will get the most points here, 15. Finally, there is the farmer, the farmer's wife, and farmhouse cards. If you have both the farmer and the farmer's wife card as a pair, this will score you 7 points. If you have this pair along with the farmhouse, the 3 cards together will score you 14 points. You need the cards in these combinations to score points for them. For example, having only the farmer and a farmhouse but no farmer's wife would score you no points. However, if you have 2 farmers and 2 farmer's wife cards, each pair would score you 7 points for a total of 14.
And that's how you play KuKaKing.
We hope you have loads of fun playing.
See you again. Bye.
Bye.